Hi viewers, would you like to know entire history of this earth or entire story of this earth within only one video? If you would like, please watch the entire video without skipping. First of all, you might have heard that the history of this earth is beginning before about 4 billion years ago. Yes, actually the history of the earth begins with the formation of our solar system. Let us discuss how it happens. Before the formation of the solar system, we could found a molecular clouds called the nebula with the dust particles. This is the building blocks for any stars. This nebula is just disturbed by a dying star's supernova explosion. This disturbance causes the great mass to get together and form the massive star called our Sun. That is about 99% of the entire materials of the nebula. The rest 1% begin to rotate around the Sun. All the things happened about 4.6 billion ago. In which planet? There are several planets that begins to rotate around the Sun. In which the third planet is the Earth. The Earth at the beginning is like a molten rock. It is covered completely with the molten lava. So we couldn't imagine in that time there would be a life in Earth. Later on, there was another important massive event occurred, that is the collision of the planet called Theia with our Earth. This releases the mass materials from our Earth, and these materials after begins to rotate around our Earth, that forms our moon. So now our solar system, our Earth and our moons are formed, but our Earth about 4.5 billion years ago is still like a molten rock. There is no possibility for life, in which the occurrence that we have discussed so far had happened. After that, there are two other important occurrences. The first one is about 4 billion years ago, the formation of the atmosphere occurred in around our Earth. That is because of the volcanic eruptions. It has released lots of gases to the environment, as well as there are asteroids attacks. Asteroids are very smaller particles of the remnant of our Sun. So the asteroids attacks, as well as the release of the gases from the volcanic eruptions, form the thick atmosphere around our Earth. This atmosphere was very thick, so it has formed the droplets of the water. These droplets of the water later condensed and begin to rain. This rain lasts more than millions of years, day and night, creating the large oceans. So the oceans are created through the greater condensation of the gases released by the asteroids, as well as the volcanic eruptions of the Earth. So the Earth has begun to cool around 4 billion years ago after forming the ocean. So all these periods are called the Hadean Eon or Hadean Eon, that lasts from 4.6 billion years to 4 billion years ago. After that, scientists has identified the second eon, that is called the Archean Eon. This begins about 4 billion years ago and ends about 2.5 billion years ago. During this period, which lasts about 1.5 billion years, there are two very important occurrences found in our Earth. The first one is the formation of the continents. So now we have seen that ocean has already formed. So the ocean has covered entire Earth. So the ocean has already cooled the Earth also. Some highest part of the mountainous parts of the Earth has evolved from the oceans forming the continents. After making the earth 30% of the land, that is the continents, and 70% of the oceans. In ocean there is a very vital another occurrence also happens, that is the beginning of the life. Some chemicals are get together and form the single cell organism in the ocean. This is one of the very vital event in the Archean Eon that lasts from 400 billion years to 2.55 billion years, around 1.55 billion years. So these two events takes about billions of years to form the earth. After that, the scientists has identified another important eon or the larger period of time, that is called proto-Earth eon, lasts from 2.5 billion years to 541 million years. This is the largest period of the eon, or the period that lasted in the history of the earth, more than 2 billions of years. During this period, there are several important occurrences are noticed, in which the first one is the formation of the oxygen. The cyanobacteria that is found in the oceans has produced the oxygen using the photosynthesis process. This plenty of oxygen released to the environment is the source for the formation of the multicellular organisms. So far we found a single cellular organism, but the plenty of oxygen has given the room for the multicellular organisms, both in the ocean as well as in the continents. So the multicellular organisms has first appeared about 2 billion years ago in the oceans, then they have slowly moved to the earth. Another very important thing during this year is the variety of the multicellular organisms. This variety of the multicellular organisms are various shapes and various colors. Finally, during this period that lasts more than 2 billion years, there was one great event occurred, that is called the snowball earth. The earth is covered for millions of years with the great ice, so it is not much affected the life in the ocean. Even though the ocean is covered fully with the ice, the life was under the ocean is safe, but it affected the life in the continent. This period lasted more than 2 billion years and ended before 541 million years. This period, the scientist has given this eon, or this larger period, the Phanerozoic period. So the scientist has subcategorized this Phanerozoic eon as eras. The eon mean the larger periods of time that may be about billions of years or many millions of years, but era may be few millions of years, in which the first subcategory is called Paleozoic era is the name given to the first category of the Phanerozoic eon. This era lasts from 541 million years to 252 million years. In this era, there are multiple important events occurred, in which the first one is the Cambrian explosion. The Cambrian explosion means the expansion of the life from the ocean to the continent. It was already there, but in this time it expanded in the large amount. Another things, the first vertebrate evolved in the ocean, like jellyfish and other kind of fishes. The vertebrate mean the animal that has the backbone. So this also occurred during this Paleozoic era. Another thing is the colonization of the land by the plants and fungi. There are plenty of and various types of plants that form the great forest all over the earth. So this is the greatest and the vast development in the history of the earth. The formation of the greatest forest is the greatest event of the earth. Another thing is the devastation of forest. The forest area all over the continent is devastated. Another one is the premium extinction that is actually occurred in about 252 million years ago. Mass extinction of about 90% of fauna and flora. The animals that lived so far, as well as the plants that form the forest all over the world, extinct about 90% of the life destroyed with no reason. Through this, scientists still don't know what is the actual reason that caused this Permian great extinction. After that, the very important period that is very popular in the mass media is begin. That period is called Mesozoic era. That is the period of dinosaurs. This period starts about 252 million years ago and end about 66 million years ago. In this period, only 10% of the life that had been lived before survived, in which it takes about millions of years, and in which few lives has evolved as larger bodies, in which the dinosaurs are very vital. So dinosaurs are like king. They are everywhere in the earth, but still there are other organisms also like mammals and birds and reptiles. Still there are dinosaurs. About 200 million years ago, everywhere the dinosaurs. So that was the Mesozoic era was the period of dinosaur. But after 200 million years of the dinosaur period, it comes an end from the asteroid from the remote sky. The asteroid destroyed the dinosaurs entirely from this earth. Only what survived was small animals. So all the survival that occurs right now as even human being is coming from what left after the great extinction of the dinosaurs. The final subcategory is called the Cenozoic era, that begins after the destruction of the dinosaurs before 66 million years ago and lasting to the present. Present mean these 2024 and 2025, because there is no major changes. The same thing is still occurring even though we have founded the modern technology. So our current era is a subcategory of the Cenozoic era that started 66 million years ago after the extinction of the dinosaur, in which we can point out some important things. First of all, the race of mammals. The mammals are the animals that feed their that feeds their babies. So human also evolved as a mammal from the primates. Another very important thing is the evolving of the primates or early humans. The primates are evolved about 7 million years ago. After that, they gradually developed, and about 300,000 years ago, the modern human called Homo sapiens evolved from the primates. So this was the lengthy story. Then the scientists has now they have made a recent epoch also, that is called the Holocene epoch. This is actually the additional epoch of the previous, because this epoch fully covers the man's intervention. After the appearance of the men, Homo sapiens, about 300,000 years ago, the men made some changes to this environment and made the culture to this environment. This is what the recent epoch of Holocene epoch. that started around 11,700 years ago and is still lasting up to the present. In this epoch or in this era, what had happened was the agriculture. The human who evolved about 300,000 years ago was lived as an animal. They hunt and gather. But after that, they have about 11,000 years ago invented the lands, and they invented the agriculture, and they invented the settlement in one place. This was the great achievement, the invention of the agriculture. After that, about 200 years ago, that is in 18th and 19th century, there was a technological as well as the social changes using the industrial revolution. So now we are living depending on the industrial revolution, outcomes of the industrial revolution. Now we are living in 19th and 2000 years up to 2025. We are living in the modern world that comes or resulted from the industrial revolution that occurred before 200 years ago. In this world, we are using modern technology, modern scientific instrument, and modern communication. This has made the world as a small globe, and this has made a great achievement in space. But this is still challenging the environment and human relationship. So in this video, we have discussed the entire history of the human as well as the Earth itself from the beginning to the nowadays, and who knows what will happen in the future. Please join with us for more interesting videos and subscribe to the channel.